somebody for the question, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll pass the mic around. Here we are, sir.
Yes, I'd like to follow up on John McNeil's comment about they don't want colonels anymore, and they don't even want lieutenant colonels. If grade imbalance is a problem for a war, and I can see how those grades may be useful in other applications, but do we need to reset the force and move all these colonels and lieutenant colonels out and have it be captains and majors? I mean, that's what I hear you saying.
I will tell you my opinion, sir, which I've never been shy about doing. I think that the transition, the transformation of CA forces to the G series, for those of you who don't know that, hopefully sooner versus later, where the battalions go to 200 packs, the brigade drops to 100, and the KCOM moves to 200 packs, with the movement of the functional specialists at the KCOM level. I think that's where your 05s and 06s for the most part will be primarily in the functional specialist area. Obviously, we will continue to have commanders at the 06 and 05 level, but I think realistically where I think in the future where we make our money is, as General Blackledge has said, I'm a firm believer in SSPR. I believe that is the way ahead for us. The state calls it SCRS. I'm not sure what the difference is, but certainly when you get into the technical end of our mission, then certainly the 06s and the 05s are probably mostly where we're going to get that expertise. I think the reality of the war is that maneuver commanders typically, and we've done this, I've been in this business for, as you have, sir, a long time, and I don't think there's many places where when I was in 06, they were happy to see me, and they certainly weren't happy to see 23 of us show up. So I think that was the point of my comment is that certainly there's going to continue to be a need for senior ranking people, especially I think in the special functions area. But I think it's a fact of life that the maneuver commanders do not want a lot of senior ranking people running around their AL.
At my perspective, I think one, I agree with what John has said, but I also think that we're somewhat victims of our success in the past 10 years, in that we've grown a whole bunch of Army leaders, maneuver commanders that have grown up from battalion level to brigade level to division level now, that just love the heck out of our tactical CA capability that we've been giving them and doing such a great job at. Unfortunately, most of them have not seen the kind of work that our senior grade folks with the huge amount of civilian skills that they bring do. Those that have love them. It's like, hey, where do you get these guys? I mean, they're doing great work. Our partners in the State Department and the other agencies love these guys when we have them. But even when they're there doing great stuff, I know that from my recent experience at MNFI, I mean, they couldn't get enough of the colonels that that I had there with the kind of expertise that they had, but I would still have senior officers and general officers who weren't plugged into what those folks were doing because it wasn't necessarily in their lane, but would wander through and say, what the heck why you got all these colonels here running around here? And so we've missed something in the education of our senior leaders to understand the capability we have and what we can bring. When we get them there, and a lot of times it's by having to do heavy marketing, you say, hey, I've got some folks that can help you out in this area. They love what they do, but there is that tendency, and we've all lived it, and particularly in the area of maneuver commanders, and they got their battle space. They're very touchy about who else is in their battle space when it comes to officers of equivalent or higher rank, and so it's something that the Army as a whole needs to work through, and we in civil affairs need to help them do that.
If I may, one thing, there was an interesting, General Corelli who had been the MNSC commander some time back. He was speaking at NDU a couple of weeks ago, and speaking to him afterwards briefly he made mention specifically about civil affairs folks that came in, and then because quote unquote there were so many holes in different places, the next thing you know, we were putting civil affairs majors, lieutenant colonels, and colonels in places where they should not have been, and then they stood in there. And people didn't see, in his mind, the goodness of them doing civil affairs stuff. Instead, they became, the something or other plans officer or action officer. So they weren't used to their fullest extent as the functional officers. And somehow, nobody ever asked a medical service officer who was a doctor, well, you're a colonel. No, I don't need you here. In fact, quite honestly, as General Altshuler used to say, give me your most senior, most successful professional folks with a commensurate rank military side that reflects their civilian skills, and I'll take them, regardless of the rank. And I think it's a question of educating our brethren and sisters on the utility of that.
I think, just one final thing on that, sir, too, I think that's where the interagency piece, where we need to continue to develop that, because that's where that expertise can, I think, really assist us. And I think the second part to that is, and my favorite soapbox thing is that that's why you need a CA task force, because the CA task force shows up, and I bring 16 colonels. I don't give a damn what you think, because I will place those 16 colonels and do what they know how to do best, to provide you the enablers that you really need, but give me the capability to do that. Don't fragment my force by sending us in. We got 1,100 packs that are going to go in, and we all know that those kids are spread out all over the place, and we lose C2 of those. So the minute you do that, as far as I'm concerned, you somewhat lessen their effectiveness, because hypothetically, we know how to best utilize those. So,
Sir, I have a slightly different take on this. And I will say that what gets us in trouble is we have many senior officers who don't comport themselves and don't perform the way the units that we support expect them to comport themselves and perform. And we have to do internally, and General Morris mentioned this, a better job of training our captains and majors to be training and educating our captains and majors to be lieutenant colonels and colonels who can mesh seamlessly in the operational environment on the staff. The other thing is, we tout our functional specialists, but we have some senior guys over there who aren't in functional specialist roles, and may not have a true functional specialty, which goes back to what General Morris said again, is we have got to be able to access into the force true civilian specialists in a limited duty capacity, so that we can advertise them just like the medical community advertises doctors. Hey, don't look to this guy to do the things you expect the colonel to do. He's a true specialist.